Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Survivor podcast ever. I'm your wonderful and handsome host, Civilian Arc, here, and joining me is the season two winner of Survivor Dragon Age, Siren. How are you doing, Siren?
I have never played Dragon Age.
Yeah, we know. Anyways, this video will technically come out after the tier list video, but we're recording it before I make the tier list video because I'm fucking lazy. But yeah, so far I went through 77 to 11 of the contestants and just listed them all off. But so Siren is here to talk about the top 10 players with me because Siren's seen a lot of players games, and I think there's like he's seen every single gameplay except like I want to say one player in the top 10, but he still kind of has a good grasp of that player. But let's talk
I
about
played. I played with a player.
let's talk about some players that
Yeah.
you feel may have like missed a spot or deserve some recognition in the top 10. Do you think any people earn an honorable mention inside this?
I feel like there are there are four honorable mentions that we really have to give. Uh, the first one, although not exactly, probably not even a top 20, maybe like 19. I feel like we have to give a lot of respect to Luke.
Right.
Uh, I don't. I think that they played amazingly in season 3, and season 1 and 5 they were robbed in. If it wasn't for season 2, there would be an argument for Luke to be in the top 10, honestly.
Yeah, Luke's a big name within the Survivor community, and he's had three really good games. It's just season two kind of bogged him down a little bit, but yeah.
And honestly, he should have made the finale of season 2. I can't explain what happened to Luke there. He should have made it farther. He could
Yeah.
have won that season, honestly, if people were being. I think that Luke could have comped out as much as I comped out. Yeah,
Right.
it's just the question. Yeah. The second one is going to be How, which is a little bit controversial, probably to give a shout out to because I don't think they have a good merge gameplay, but I think they are probably the best pre-merge and swap player of Survivor history.
Right.
Uh, they just need a better social game in the merge, honestly, and they probably could win a Survivor season.
Yeah,
And then,
how played a good game within season 2 and 7, yeah.
and like, I feel like, and I understand that you probably think differently from me here because I know we kind of have like an argument of whether Hal played better or Puggy played better. But personally, I think Hal could have beaten Puggy at the final two. I feel like it at least would have been a 3-4 vote.
Right. I, it's kind of a back and forth between those two. I think Hal has a better chance of being a successful player, but I think Puggy just had a better overall social game than Hal.
I definitely would have fought for Puggy to lose because I know people don't see pre-merge gameplay as super important. But he kind of botched the pre-merge gameplay with me, and like Hal has arguably one of the most interesting plays in Survivor history in season 2. I think they give him a lot more flack for that move than he should get.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, the legendary Skylar, who honestly could have won season 7.
Yeah,
That's
if
the.
they had a better FTC speech, they could have beaten Max at season 7.
I don't think you can beat Max and FTC, obviously. And we can't talk about Skylar's season 8 game unless you're willing to release this afterward, in which we can.
Well, Skylar's game wouldn't matter because it's based purely on Era 1 gameplay, so
Yeah, that's true. And then Max is an interesting case. Because honestly, the only reason Max isn't in the top 10 is because they can't use an idol to save their life.
right. And
Because,
Max,
like,
when Max went into fans versus favorites, he was kind of deemed as this kind of goober that like left each season with collectively 3 idols in his pocket. So he kind of kept a goober phase going on, but I think that was kind of a good play by him. He kind of played sort of a Fabio type game at the beginning and kind of went with the flow with shit and kind of tried to look like he didn't know what was going on, but he did know what was going on.
I will always state about season 7 that I'm amazed that 4 favorites made it to the finale, or like 5.
It
They
was
should have got the fans should have murdered them point blank.
because it was a 9-5
B
advantage.
Yeah, like the only player that ever made sense of keeping on the fans or keeping from from the favorites and going after a fan was like maybe How or Octopus, and that's it. Everyone else should have been brought to the firing squad and shot. But you know, we have BHG to thank for that.
Yeah, but now
Now, let's talk. Speaking of season 7,
yeah, let's go on to our first person, which is a fan from Survivor Fans versus Favorites. Caleb, he got ninth place in Survivor Fans versus Favorites, but he made a couple great moves along the way. He technically idled out Noisy, and he managed to idle out Donovan. And I think it was some of the things Caleb was good at that differentiated himself from other fans, such as BHG or even Benno, is that Caleb had a lot of social bonds going into Merge that he formed well because he had Max and Octopus he was kind of forming bonds with, and then once the joint tribal came, he was able to team up with people like Peppers and Skylar. But I think something that does screw Caleb over in a bit, because we do kind of have to talk about some player faults as well, because no player is perfect in the grand scheme of things. And this is like a
yeah,
summary game assessment. Caleb does have some problem um, socializing with his adversaries. You know, he had some trouble like forming final bonds with Topnep, which kind of did screw him over in a way. Not in the way Topnep wanted, but it did screw him over in a way. And also,
I
he just had such a rivalry with BHG that it like absolutely screwed him over.
I will be fair to Kalabe. I'm not gonna say that he wasn't fair, that he was good with making friends with those people, but it wasn't like those two ever gave him a chance in the first place.
That's true. Yeah.
Because Kalabe's game is the perfect definition of he's an amazing player, he just wasn't dealt the right cards.
Right.
Like the only way he was ever gonna make it to the end was immuting his way to the end from the final 9 or finding idols and stuff, which wasn't really his fault because honestly, I think Kalabi could have won the season if BHG didn't become a madman. That just kind of sums up fans versus favorites. Is fans like Benno and even Donovan and Noisy got screwed because BHG didn't want a Pagong.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
and like,
I do think that Caleb is probably the best fan of the few. I do think he doesn't have the best social game. I think I'd give that to Benno out of all the fans, but I also think that Caleb probably has the best strategical game out of all the fans. Um,
yeah, like I feel like if someone argued to me and said that Benno deserved 10th instead of Kalabe, I wouldn't exactly disagree. But
yeah,
I think Kalabe is just the better strategic player, and I feel like that Kalabe was in an impossible situation, but Benno wasn't. And I guess we'll talk about number 9, which is probably the most not known game wise on this list.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Because number 9, very kind of forgotten player, but they're still pretty active within the Survivor community. It is Alex from Survivor Season 3, The Walking Dead. And Alex is a player that doesn't get mentioned a lot for a few reasons. One is because Survivor Season 3 was at a time when the community was like in a phase of it was it wasn't like in its like early age, but it wasn't like a matured thing yet. So nobody really paid much attention to season 3. Whereas, you have seasons 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 where people are very active within the community there. 3 didn't have that going for it, but with
And also another reason why like Alex gets so overshadowed is because season 3 has by far probably some of the biggest characters in the Survivor community.
oh yeah, 100%. We have a lot of those people we know of. They're going to be on this list as well, but we also had Luke, Puppet, even Yuli and Only and Pebbles and characters like that.
The the reason why people don't know Alex's game, which honestly I feel like is more of a testament to the game Alex was playing, is they were playing a perfect UTR game that was only seen by one player, which was the player that idled them out.
Yeah. Alex, for insight on Alex's game, they started off in a pretty well position, gaining allies with, people like Blissey, Luke, Yuli, and Lou. But they went into the second swap and got targeted by a bitter puppet. Um, so, but since season 3 had an Edge of Extinction twist, Alex managed to win and come back. And I think that's what puts Alex above the other players who try to play a UTR game is that Alex got voted out and was UTR. She was very behind the scenes of stuff. She managed to like go behind people's backs and not get stabbed until like the very last second by Luke. And I'd argue if Luke doesn't idle out Alex, Alex wins the season. Because what you
Oh
have
no, that's definitely
because Rabbi and Harrison were kind of getting exposed at that point as well. They weren't out in the dark anymore because people started
yeah.
recognizing Rabbi as a threat. And I think if Alex survives that tribal, it's very likely Rabbi gets shot at. But yeah, Alex played a.
Actually, Rabbi doesn't get shot at because Rabbi has immunity for the next 4 rounds.
That's true. Although I think Uli had immunity final 6. I think because I remember Harrison.
He did.
I remember
He
Harrison.
did, but I think
I remember Harrison played a half idol on Rabbi, and then
oh yeah, he
Uli
did.
played an idol
Which I
on
think
Harrison.
it's one of those questionable moments where if Rabbi survives the final 6, Rabbi just wins the season. But if Rabbi doesn't, I think Alex definitely does win the season.
Yeah, it's either like a game between Alex or Harrison, but I think in terms of comp ability, I'd probably give it to Alex. But
And
yeah,
like and, and yeah, like we'll talk about Rabbi's game later. But I don't want that what if scenario to take away from Rabbi's game because I feel like Rabbi was the perfect Rabbi's kind of like the Jeremy of Survivor in a way. He
yeah,
was a target, but he had so many people in front of him. But anyway,
we'll
I
mention
guess we'll
that
go
more.
into.
Alex is
I guess we'll go into the next person after Alex.
yeah, I do think
There's not much
Alex.
to talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah. There's not much to talk about, but Alex is. Don't be fooled by Alex. Alex has a great social game, very great UTR
Yeah,
game, and yeah, she definitely deserved a spot on the top 10. But going into a spot I don't think anyone anticipated would be this, early on the list. We have our season 2 winner and season 5 runner up of Dragon Age and The Boys, respectively. We have Siren here. So,
Bishop,
what do you
I
think
feel,
about number 8 Siren?
I feel like that's actually more than I expected. That's a bit higher than I expected. And the reason why I'm number 8, so everyone knows, is because, and like I understand that some people may not see this as fair, because I am the one of two people that are affected by this on this list. I'll say that right away, one of two. Where actually I think I'm the only one affected by this. Where I played a season and was massively robbed. I was metagamed. There's like so many insane reasons for why I got voted out. But because I'm a pre-merge boot, consistency wise, I don't feel it's fair to place myself over other people who are way more consistent. Plus, my season 2 win is kind of weak.
Right.
It's nothing spectacular.
Although
I'm
you
the
do have some good season 2 moments in there as well. You managed to get Mav to flip on Puppet at the final 13 tribal council. You managed to get the L like quad to go vote out Luke, which was a huge move that ultimately let you win the season. So you have a lot of good season 2 moments, but I think where you really shine, you and I can both agree on this, where you really shine is season 5, where, you managed to pull out
the
a ton of blindsides there.
the thing about me, and also why it kind of makes sense why I'm number 8 on this list when people are like, why is Siren number 8? It's because I'm not really a power player. I'm kind of like the underdog of Civivor, like the hired underdog. I never really. The only moment I ever had power in Civivor history was at the final 3 of season 2 and final 7 to final 3 of season 5. That's it. And even then, that's like arguable because Fantasy and Strawberry went on a crazy streak and voted out Patrick, and I couldn't do shit about it. Yeah.
And
I,
everyone
I just.
agrees you were robbed in season 5 and should have won, so you should, there's that. We
Um.
won't we won't get into the season 5 jury bullshit. That's
We won't get into that. What I will say, which I'll state for the record, is I feel like my season 5 game is a little overhyped because it's a great story. It's a beautiful story. I pull off so many moments that don't make sense, like surviving the swap or the final 8 idol play on Max, where I had to run around like Tony Vlaco showing off my idol to everyone just to get people to vote Matt.
and then Max
But
doesn't play his
at the
idol.
which I wanted him to play his idol is the funniest shit. I wanted him to play the idol. But but the one thing about me in season 5, which I feel like is a lesson for other players to learn, is don't let people get under your skin. Cuz I don't really talk about this much, but I definitely think that I inadvertently hurt my social game when I took Yuli's speech at the final 7 a little bit too hard.
Right.
Don't blindside people like Siren. PSA.
Yeah, if you fuck with Siren, you'll probably pay unless you're someone else we're gonna
Uh,
see soon on this list, then I guess you'll be okay. Um
I, I will say the one thing about me is I kind of want it to be a less or like kind of like a beacon of hope for people that don't do well on their first season. That doesn't mean you can't come back and push even harder and push even harder because every season that I come on, I get better and better. I don't think that I'll get better on my next season if I ever play again before an All-Star season. But we're
yeah.
happy. This next player, I think we'll get a little bit of shock from this player, mostly because of one moment in their Survivor career, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, but yeah, our next player, very consistent player and just a very good overall player. Let's go on to our number 7 on our list, which is Peppers, who was the runner-up of Survivor Corpse Party and 6th place on Survivor Fans versus Favorites. So Peppers is one of those players
Oh,
that I think gets very far purely because of their net positivity. Peppers is one of those people that just irradiates the type of energy you want to be around. And I think Peppers uses that to their advantage a lot because, you go into season 4 and look at Peppers' game, you can obviously see that nobody wants to vote out Peppers, obviously. I'd argue that Peppers, in the social dynamics that were going on in their OG tribe, Peppers probably had the best social game out of everyone. I know Octopus probably was in a better position, but I think Peppers had a better socialized game in their
what
corner.
what I will always say about Peppers, and I know this may be seen as a little bit of a heart. I don't think this is a harsh criticism, but more just kind of like a truth. They're an extremely nice and wholesome person, which gets them so far in the game, but it also always seems to come back to them like a boomerang.
Yeah.
Like in season 4, which arguably I understand that they did play better in season 7, but arguably they had a much better chance of winning season 4, where they kind of hesitated in getting out Akio, which is like the only mistake in their Survivor career, honestly.
Yeah.
Other than there's another mistake, which is a little bit arguable. This is like a what if scenario. Voting off Benno.
But I don't think that was Pepper. I think that was Max who flipped on Benno.
Well, that was Max, but like Peppers was also kind of like with Max on the decision.
Right.
It's one of those kind of like failing to save Benno is like the only reason they lose season 7,
Because Benno
honestly.
was a
And like
target, but
arguably, yeah. And like another thing with like, and I'll just say it, with like a lot of the players coming up, I wouldn't call them comp beast, but I
no,
would call them
I I'm pretty
very comp.
I'm pretty sure out of like the next 6 on our list, there's only like one or two that we can even consider comp beasts. But yeah,
Well, I mean like every one of most of the players on this list, and I say most of them, have at least like one immunity win or one challenge win or like one fancy idol play.
yeah,
And like Peppers is like kind of the anomaly of this list, where they are so good at the social game that that's all they really need most of the time.
yeah,
If Peppers was a comp beast, they would win a season. That's the fear.
yeah.
If
Because
Peppers starts comping out.
if Peppers wins final 6 and final 5 immunity, you can argue that
Uh,
like Max. You can even argue that Peppers goes in a Peppers didn't go in a Max 1v1. Peppers did go, but you can argue that like if Peppers, Octopus, and How are in the final 5 together, I'd actually argue How sides with Peppers and Octopus. At
oh
least
no,
for
Hal
one
would
round.
definitely side with Peppers and Octopus because Hal was trying to save Benno.
Yeah,
We'll give credit where credit's due. Hal was trying to save their game that was falling in front of them. But
but
I feel like the next 6, like I feel like all the like 10 to 7 are iconic like players in their own right.
yeah,
I feel like the top 6 are, except for one of them, although
I think the
it's
tops.
arguable,
I
are
think the
very
I
recognizable.
think 10 through 7 are all like the like A tier players, and I think when you get to 6 to 1, that's like the A plus to S tier players. Like this is where you get
And
into like the top of the top, and
I would argue that like me and Peppers are like on the verge of the top of the top.
Yeah,
Like we,
you're like
but we're
hovering there, but you're not like there yet.
and like yeah.
But
Let's go on with this next one, which is
this
probably going to be a shock for some.
yeah, because I talked to some people about it, and they were like, I don't think this person would be on the list, and I feel like a lot of people will be surprised by just how good of a game this man played. So it's Harrison, the season
The
3 runner-up
robbed
of Survivor Walking Dead, and Harrison has a lot of stuff
and
going for him because when you look at his game on a vacuum of everything that went down, Harrison has a perfect game stacked in front of him, except for one issue, and that's his comp beast ability. Because if Final Four Harrison wins immunity, Rabbi's gone, and Harrison likely wins like an 8-2 to 0 vote against
and
Uli.
and even then, I want to like fully stress that like me and Civ will like always agree on this, even though we have Rabbi ranked above Harrison. We think Harrison played better. We'll always state this.
I do
We're
think
Camp Harrison all the way.
I do think that they're both very close in terms of just general gameplay, but I think one of the things that, doesn't give Harrison enough credit is that the jury was just so they didn't try. They didn't try.
I think the best way to describe Harrison and Rabbi, and I know that like some Survivor fans will give us like a hold up a second moment for me saying this. They are the JT and Steven of Survivor.
Oh no, they totally
Harrison is
are.
Steven. Pearson is Steven, who he's in the background, and he's basically, and I'm not trying to take away anything from Rabbi, but Harrison was the strategical brains of the two. Harrison was pulling off blind sides and idle plays with idols that weren't even freaking his. He pulled off an idle play for Rabbi, which I think was correct.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments, like, and I know this is like going to be a statement that people are going to be like, Siren, you probably shouldn't be the one saying this. Harrison is kind of the original Siren in a way, where a good part of the jury just didn't care to pay attention to them.
No, yeah, 100%. I think Harrison's
But
kind of like the
for
beta
Harrison, it
test.
wasn't. But for Harrison, it wasn't out of bitterness, and I want to fully state that it's kind of stupid that we have this issue sometimes in final threes of orgs. But Harrison's game is so perfect that you forget that it's perfect.
Yeah.
He's his one weakness was being too invisible, which shouldn't be a weakness with his long resume because
His
I would
resume
argue,
his resume is insane. His victim memoirs are stacked. He technically took out Luke. Keep in mind he's the man that technically took out Luke cuz without his idol,
yeah,
it's a tie vote and it
yeah,
goes to rocks.
they
Without
probably,
Harrison's idol,
yeah,
Luke
yeah.
does not go.
And it's not even like Harrison, and I understand that Peppers fans are probably going to pull out the pitchforks and torches here. Harrison is the best FT speech of Survivor history. I
Yeah.
know it only got him one vote, but that it was so. And we want to reiterate, we don't hate Rabbi because
Oh no,
Rabbi
Rabbi
by
Rabbi
far
Rabbi is also a great player, but Harrison's
Rabbi
game
is one
is
of the
yeah.
thing with like Harrison and Rabbi is Harrison is one of, I would argue, and this is like an argument that people stare at me because another player exists. I would argue Harrison is the best strategical player of Survivor ever.
I don't know. I'd probably agree with that. I forgot who I gave the award to, but Harrison was a nominee. But yeah, Harrison.
The thing is, and like we'll like kind of state this, is the only reason Harrison doesn't get more awards from us is because Harrison didn't win. And it
Yeah,
feels kind of weird to overlook a winner who was very close to Harrison's level because like Harrison isn't like definitely the best. There's like arguments,
I
but
also
like
think I also think one thing that does tank Harrison's placement just a little bit. While Harrison's game is very good, I also think there's just moments where people needed more of a, social connection to him that they felt with Rabbi that they didn't feel with Harrison. I do think that there is a argument to be made, but it's also just that Harrison played a very incredible game, and it's a game that I
yeah,
don't think many players give enough credit. I don't think anyone can pull off a game that Harrison did. I'll be honest.
honestly, and like I will say this to the kingdom come. Like people like me and like someone else on this list will probably be seen as the best strategical players of Survivor because we were so out in the open. But I heavily want to stress that although I respect over the top gameplay, I feel like it's even more respectable when you do everything an over the top player does while in the background.
Yeah,
Because Harrison is, and it's not like Harrison didn't try to make social connection. Rabbi was just that much better, which is a
right.
testament to Rabbi's social game. Like Harrison is probably the best strategical player of Survivor, and we'll talk about Rabbi later, but he's probably the best social player ever.
He's
Like
definitely up there.
this man got people to call him president, voted them out, and then they turned around and voted him.
Yeah.
Like you can't make it up. He he had like well, we'll talk about Rabbi. Let's get to number 5,
Number
which
5, which
this
is
one
this
may
this may be the most controversial placement of them all. Um, I'll say this
I don't
now,
I don't think yeah, this is
but
the controversial one.
it is Quinn from Survivor Season 4 Curse Party and the winner of Survivor Breaking Bad. Um, Quinn, let's talk about the good side of Quinn so we can like say all the positives and then say why Quinn isn't the top player. So, Quinn in
So
Survivor Breaking Bad is amazing. They have a resume that I don't think anyone can beat. Quinn not only had a lot of quintessential blindsides, but they have a level of UTR that not a lot of players are managed to rectify other than maybe Harrison. But another thing is that Quinn is able to pull off social connections that a lot of players just don't manage to reach. Sometimes it's not about connecting with everyone, it's about who you connect with. And it's in Quinn's case, it's connecting with Skylar
and like yeah,
because when
and I would like to like fully state like with about season 6 Quinn. I will state the one thing I will like always applaud them for because this won them the game. It's so like complicated. The fact they got people to let them walk out with the top hat is like one of the main reasons they won this game. If the
yeah,
top hat doesn't exist, Quinn doesn't keep Skylar. Quinn's usage of it to make people scared as shit was one of the most beautiful things ever in Survivor. Although we are burning that hat to the ground.
the yeah
We're
we
never
don't
making it the way it
we
was.
don't like it, but Quinn used it I think perfectly. Quinn used it.
No, Quinn. The only argument against Quinn's game in season 6, and it's a very small one, but it is one that we have to recognize, is them losing Toast. That's the single thing you can point at as a mistake.
Quinn losing Toast is bad,
Because
but I think they also the way they just immediately come back from that is very good.
yeah, like they immediately recover. It's like they were right back up. We will state that it does help that Quinn not only won 5 comps that season, but was able to get 2 idols from the twist.
Yeah, Quinn was a very twist-oriented player, which was very counterintuitive to what they were season 4. They played kind of more background in season 4, but in season 6 they had just a lot of great social connections, and the strategic
And
maneuverment Quinn had is just very insane, and it just led
yeah,
them to
it's like,
a almost perfect win. If Claire voted Quinn in FTC, Quinn is the first perfect winner of Survivor, and
and we will always state that we, although understand that it was a legitimate reason, we weren't very happy
we didn't
when
like it.
Claire.
But now that
We did.
let's talk about Quinn's season 4 game though, because that is what
Please, I don't
tanks
want to
them
talk
in the
about this,
ranking.
please.
I'll talk about it for you, but Quinn in season
No, I'll
4
I'll talk about it.
Quinn in season 4 is very complicated because Quinn does play a good game in season 4, but it's in a competition where the field is so stacked because you have people like Akio, Angie, Puppet, Octopus, Peppers, that
I
Quinn just doesn't do anything to really take advantage of all the big threats. Quinn doesn't manage to pull off any
I
move that other players don't.
I I will state one of the things that I will give Quinn credit for, although it's something very small, which is in season 4, it's the first time Quinn meets Puppet, who is arguably the most influential villain of Survivor history. Whenever Puppet shows up, it's tyranny. Shit goes off the walls, houses are burning, walls are burning, the children are crying, and he's such like an overbearing force. We love Puppet, but he is a super overbearing force. And
Yeah.
I feel like that Quinn took what they learned from season 4, their mistakes, and improved upon it so well in season 6.
Yeah, for sure.
Like without season 4, we don't get season 6 Quinn.
Yeah.
Season 4 Quinn is like an anomaly because, and like, I know like we don't like talking about this. The final 5 of season 4, and it's a very small argument. There's a small chance that Quinn wins season 4 if they make it to FTC. A small
A
chance if
small
it's
chance.
against Peppers and Silver. And the only reason that exists is because, and credit where credit is due, they did have a good social game. I just don't think that people didn't want to talk strategy with them unless it was Trap.
Yeah,
Because
just
Quinn and Trap was a really strong duo
yeah.
and a force to be reckoned with. Like, if the Illuminati army won the fight in season 4, Quinn probably wins the season. It's like a coin flip. That season is chaotic.
Yeah.
And
But yeah,
but
Quinn's just an overall great player in Survivor, and you know,
we love Quinn.
yeah,
And the best thing about them, and I feel like that this has to be respected, even though I'm technically the villain of Era 1. That's only because season 4 exists. We all know this. If season 4 doesn't exist, Quinn gets it. Quinn understands how to make social bonds, but also gain respect from people. They're not just the likable person. They actually like instill fear into you.
yeah, they're like
Like I think
they kind of
like
play
Puppet and Angie,
they kind of
they're
like
kind
a
of
Kim Spradlin type game where you you love them and you love talking with them, but you also feel kind of a background presence with them where you just don't want to mess with it.
I feel like I know like I love Kim Spradlin. I'm gonna take it a step further. I saw Quinn as more of Tom Westman. They're super good at comps. They're super nice, but they have moments where you just like see the darkness come out.
Yeah.
Like and like we will reiterate, Quinn is a beast. We love Quinn. We're not like trying to be disrespectful when we put Quinn at 5. It's just, and like I'll say this so like people kind of like understand, the next 4 players are all players that only played once.
That is true. Quinn is the best
It
multi-timed player of Survivor history.
Quinn is the best multi-time player. like I want to reiterate that like if we could, although like we really like don't want to have the time to do this, if we had many requests to do it maybe later on the line, we kind of like understand that there's a difference between playing once and playing multiple times.
Right, yeah. Because
But
how many people
because
actually are on like the top 10 list that played more than once? It's you, Quinn, Peppers, and
that's it.
that's a
That's it.
just
And
3 out of 10 people.
And I feel like that it's harder. It is way harder to get on this list if you play multiple times because it gives you more chances to have that one random season where it wasn't your fault. You just got randomly shot with a shotgun, which arguably Quinn and Peppers didn't have that season. Only I did.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I'm like the only one on this list where it's just like, and I'm actually the victim of one of these people on this list,
Yeah, do you
which
we're
is
about to,
actually
that's who we're going to talk about. It's time that
this
we
person
finally
gave
get to
I
it. Siren's biggest nemesis within the Survivor community, Ghost, the
He's not
fallen
my biggest nemesis anymore. We
the,
hashed out.
the fallen angel
What?
of Survivor Skyrim, where he got third place. He managed to absolutely steamroll everyone with a 4-person alliance. Just 4 measly people in a
Honestly,
season of 16. And
honestly, if Ghost won the season, he would be second place on this list.
honestly,
Let's state this now. If Ghost won the season, he would be second place on this list.
yeah.
He is honestly, you could argue for first. I don't think we would give him first
I don't.
because first is
I don't think
way
he's
more loved by
first.
the
I don't think he's first purely for the reason that Ghost is sort of like a Boston Rob presence in Redemption Island, where Ghost is kind of like the
yeah,
person
like
where you're like, I don't want to vote for you, but I also kind of have to because I hate everyone else. So Ghost is kind of like,
the thing with Ghost, and this is what I will say is I respect Ghost a lot before like I make any statements. This is purely about his game. Ghost is a good person. But like honestly, I don't even see him as Boston Rob. I see him as Russell Hams in a way. And like he kind of like cuz like keep in mind like he did kind of take over the game with the knife
that is true.
and spin flipping, but like Ghost is the king of pagongs.
Yeah.
That's his title. It's the only It's not the only Civivor finale that has all people from the same tribe, because I know season 5 for a fact had that.
Well, that and
But
season one finale had a Lanzi from the different tribe in it, so I don't think
well,
it.
no, I was thinking FTC, not
Oh, okay.
finale.
Yeah.
But like they were the glue for, and whether you liked Ghost or not, they were kicking your ass.
Yeah. Ghost.
I I would like to state one little thing about Ghost Game, and this is like isn't a hit to his game before we talk about his cons, because there are some cons. If it isn't for King being an idiot, Ghost doesn't make it that far in the season.
That is true.
King,
Ghost game relies heavily on King's bitterness towards other players. King
I
took out
I don't
King took out Blaze and Silver back to back, and if that does not happen, if Buffy or Junior goes on one of those tribals, that
Oh
like
yeah, Ghost is dead.
Ghost is done.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of recognition you can give Ghost within stuff that is his control. For one, he managed to get Spin to flip, and Spin's a very chaotic player who wants to stir up shit. You'd think he'd
Although
go for
let's be real.
rocks. Ghost convinced him not to go for rocks.
Okay, let's be real. I'm gonna make this statement, and like we'll keep saying it. Although Ghost made him flip, and I know this is like I love you, Ghost. I know this is like the weirdest comparison. Ghost is coach, but he didn't make it to the final, the FTC. He made it to final 3 like coach. He got took out at the end. Ghost
Yeah.
is the coach of Survivor. He knew how to run a group with an iron fist, and he constantly backstabbed people, and he knew how to make people flip like Spin. Because let's be real, King was not a good leader.
King wasn't, no.
We we, we love King. We want King to play again. We tried to get King on Fans versus Favorites. We
We
also
did.
tried to get Harrison, but
There's a
yeah,
few people
they're
we tried to invite on fans
um,
versus favorites, but
uh and also we'll say this about Ghost is I feel like some of the hate that he got was unwarranted. It was mostly because of Austin Gate and
yeah,
most people not having the full perspective on it. And I will say this, for a while, me and Civ included, thought Ghost metagame to me. That was more Brendan
yeah.
than Ghost.
It was more of a Brendan thing than Ghost. Ghost kind of just like
It
went
kind
with
of
it.
sucks. It kind of sucks that Ghost used that, but I'm not gonna fault him because he legitimately believed that I threw that challenge.
That
I don't
was
know why till this day.
I will be honest. That was a very badly formed challenge on my part. I'll
It
state for the
like
record, I formed that very poorly.
uh, yeah, because it looks like a non-live challenge, but it is a live challenge that immediately started. And but the one thing about Ghost, like the only flaw at the end of the day, because I think people would vote Ghost at the end of the day. There's no way Ghost doesn't win season 1, although some people have speculated Ghost would. Because
The only juror that votes against Ghost is Spin. That's the only juror, as far as I know.
in like the only argument that I would say, the only way Ghost loses season 1 is if Brendan actually was staying active the whole time. Because if Ghost took Brendan, Brendan could have beat Ghost. Berkeley was not going to beat Ghost. We love you, Berkeley.
Berkeley wasn't
You're the
beating
first
Ghost.
winner. We need you to come back again. Berkeley is the first comp beast of Survivor and was the reason. Well, not the first comp beast. I'm the first official comp beast, but he won the award. And though,
Yeah,
ironically, although we have many comp beast winners, there's only 2 comp beasts on this list.
that is true. And
Actually, 3. There's 3.
yeah,
There's
Quinn's a comp beast.
I was forgetting about myself, honestly, because I forget about the final 8 a lot. Where I win abstain pain, but we have to do a second challenge because of that. But anyway,
Fuck that
we love
round.
Ghost.
Yeah,
We love Ghost. The one main thing is next time. Actually, I don't even think there's anything I would say for him to change next time because I don't think anyone has a negative or so negative look on him if Austin Gate didn't happen,
yeah,
which was justifiable. That's the only gate that I see as justifiable. His gates. We'll call it a semi gate from now.
yeah.
It
But
is not a full one.
now it's time to get into our top three. These are the meat and potato players of Survivor. You know, they're the people you think of when you think of like perfect strategies, perfect
Uh,
social games, perfect.
I think one of them isn't someone that they think about, but it's mostly because it's the
It,
second season and I exist and I kind of took the spotlight.
that's true, but and number three, we
We
have Rabbi Cartman, our season three winner, Survivor: The Walking Dead. And you know, we talked about Harrison earlier, and we talked about all the things that Harrison did well, but Rabbi has a lot going for him as well. First and foremost, I think at the beginning of Merge, he plays a very similar style game that Harrison does, but he starts to know. But I think some of the stuff that other players, such as like Harrison and Alex, didn't do is that Rabbi started to see the lines form and he started to realize
yeah
his path to the end, unlike other players. He realized players like Luke and Alex were threats, and then he realized stuff people like Only and Uli can be just gaslight
yeah
shields for him. Rabbi has a perfect social game in a lot of ways because his game revolves around letting people feed off of their want to do something, but then Rabbi taking advantage of it. Rabbi hears
I
something and then he backstabs it.
I will say there is one thing about Rabbi's game, and I know we don't really think about this much, which is one of the reasons that he's probably not an S or an S minus. Which there is an argument for Rabbi
But
to be
yeah,
an S minus. Honestly, I'm honestly kind of amazed that we didn't make Rabbi an S minus. Think he came in and took it. I don't think he meant to take it from Rabbi. I think he only meant to take it from Pebbles. But it's that punishment.
yeah, the punishment back in like the off after the auction.
Where like he kind of, and I'm not saying he didn't like, he played it right, but like he kind of takes a step back once that punishment happened, and like it's not a bad thing because like he made bonds with the right people like Harrison, and they were helping him along in the game as that punishment was going on. But it's like the only moment in Rabbi's game where like you kind of, and like I think he would have won the season without the punishment. Keep in mind, but it's just it's the only thing you can fault him for
Right.
is punishment that he didn't choose to get, and he kind of ends up as a background character until Luke gets eliminated, and then just soared like a phoenix till the end.
Right. Yeah, and I think you can also kind of credit that for Rabbi too in a way because you can kind of say that that helped him just stay more UTR against power
Oh
players
no,
like Luke.
yeah, like and like definitely, it's like one of those moments where it's like he was put in a bad situation and he did the best that he could with it, but like it also messes up his grading a little bit, which isn't fun. It isn't fun as graders.
No, definitely not.
It's not.
But yeah,
And like and
Rabbi won as a 9 to he technically has the most jury votes out of any Survivor winner with 9.
unless you really want to sit here and yeah, I don't even have it with 2 seasons. Yay! I only have 9. Yay!
No, you have 10.
2 seasons. No, I have 9. Oh wait, I do have 10. So
Holy shit.
technically, but no, I'm technically the most voted winner. I'll take that to my grave. I'm joking. No, that's rabbits. And no,
But yeah, Rabbi is
the
just
thing,
a
the thing,
great player cuz I think
Rabbi, like as we'll say, Rabbi is the JT to Harrison. He didn't really, and like I like how you said he backstabbed people, but like he honestly didn't even really backstab them as more as let their ambitions kill them, which is
yeah,
what I didn't do. He's like the more social me from season 2. Because we're both comp beasts. It's just he had more shields to hide behind. I only had Luke. And we love Rabbi here. If I had to choose a winner, and I know this is like kind of weird saying this in the video, this could get him targeted. If I had to choose a winner that would come back and win a second season, it would be Rabbi.
yeah.
Because
Ra-
like
Rabbi
Rabbi's just Rabbi's an amazing social player. He just has a way of getting you to want to work with him. And I think the best way to exemplify this is I don't remember the number of the round, but it was the round with Rabbi, Blissey, Yuli, Puppet, and Big Mike.
that was like the final 15, I think.
Yeah, where Rabbi loses his vote. I don't know why this man got so many punishments that season. This world would not let him play a normal game. But where he could have easily gotten voted out by Blissey, who played an extra vote, but he convinced them that they were on his side despite not even having a vote.
Yeah, he played especially in like the level of time it took for him to do that. That took a very
Yeah.
short amount of time for him to do, but he still managed to convince them that he was on their side and willing to vote with them.
Which, like, to be fair, I also think that there's sort of, and like, this is not to discredit Rabbi, there are like season 2 vibes there.
Yeah.
there's kind of a revenge moment. Not really revenge, because Eli didn't get voted out. But anyways, let's talk about number 2, which I feel like it isn't controversial, but I feel like some people would go like, "What?"
Yeah, I think L's a very, when you say L's name, you're like, oh yeah, that player played, but a lot of players within like the early days of Survivor, L was kind of the golden boy in Survivor before like, Akio came along, which I think we all know we're going to talk about next, but L is he's social game incarnate. He's the embodiment of a social game gone correct. He not only managed to keep in mind you don't know this Siren because you weren't at like you didn't spectate the entire pre-merge,
Yeah, like
but
I'm gonna
L got
let
blindsided the first tribal. Actually, he got blindsided.
yeah.
Blaze got voted out. He didn't want Blaze to go out. He was trying to get Corny out, but L got blindsided first round, and then immediately went from blindsided to the top by voting out Corny in the third tribal. L played such a great comeback game just in the matter of 2 rounds, and then it just soared from there because L had Silver, he had Lucy, he had How, and then come swap and merge, he manages to gain Puggy as an ally, which is huge for his game. He essentially has almost the entire like merge tribe on him, and the only reason he didn't at 1 round was because of the whole, Mav debacle. If that doesn't happen, I'll probably just soars to Final Four like last time.
And like well we'll and like well we will like talk about it. I personally feel like there are only 2 mistakes to L's game, which one of them is a very weird one and always makes me laugh. But L's like main mistake, and I feel like this isn't such of a big mistake until you like fully analyze it, is L had full control at the final 6. He's king of the world.
Right.
He's king of the hill. And like I'll fully be real. Like if it wasn't for the Mav situation, no, I wouldn't have gone against L, because I even saw him as like someone that I could get to later if my alliance failed with those 4, which it did, and I had to rely on him at the final 6. If L votes me out at the final 6, there is a huge argument that he is able to soar all the way to final 3 with How and Puggy.
Yeah. Because if
And
because if
yeah,
there's no comp beasting from Luke or you. Luke or you go at Final Five, then Lucy goes at 4. L wins FIC, so he's fine. He wins the whole thing.
yeah. And the one thing, and even when he made that mistake, he had one chance to save, arguably save it, by the way, because it wasn't even.
It
I
wasn't a
never got to see the
guarantee.
tiebreaker.
It wasn't a guarantee because
Would
it'd be a tiebreaker,
the
but
tiebreaker have been chess anyway?
a tiebreaker would have been chess.
Survivor.
Yeah.
I would have won anyway. But so that's not even really a mistake. Although we will mention it because it is a funny moment where L messed up throwing. It was a smart plan, by the way. I give them full credit for making the plan. Where they were gonna throw it to How to get rid of me. Although, yeah, he's an amazing social player. He's an amazing strategical player. And if it wasn't for him standing up for production at Final 8, which is his only true mistake of Survivor history, he would have won season 2.
That's such a
He was
weird
way too nice for
That's
it.
such a weird mistake to have because you're telling someone to stop being a
Yeah.
dick. That's what makes you lose. It's so weird.
And it wasn't even like, and like Civ can back this up. It wasn't even like I enjoyed voting out L. like voting for L at the final 8. It's just the only thing my group would agree on.
Right.
But anyway, let's talk about the greatest Pokemon of all time.
The man, the myth, the fucking legend, Akio Whooper Maple Waffles. And Akio, there is in such, like, how many rounds was season 4? 15? 15 rounds? In 15 rounds, okay, so swap happens at final 15, right? So in the matter of 4 rounds, Akio essentially has the majority of the cast already backing him because of the whole RTAB thing, and then the triple joint, right? So he has at the start he has Silver and Heather, aka Ro, backing him up, and then he has Spin in the background also with him. Then
And then
comes
Groot.
then Groot as well. He has a ton of people backing him. Then come Swap, RTAB, and then Triple Joint. He then has Sheep, Octopus, and Peppers with him. And then so that's
Sheep
like that
really
that's
Akio an idol.
yeah, Sheep gave Akio an idol. That's the craziest part is that they only had
Who the
like
hell does
they only had like 24 hours of socializing, and Akio managed to get an idol from that. That is how powerful Akio's social game
and he
is.
found his own fucking idol.
Yeah, Akio played an insane game from beginning to end, and it's impossible to understand how he even got to that point. Because
There
even
there there is there is a way to understand it, mind you. Although like it's insane to explain. One of the main reasons he wins the game, and I feel like this isn't talked about like enough, is the fact that at the start of the merge, he has Octopus, who is the biggest shield for him, and he's able to like use Octopus as a shield. So the Illuminati tries to get rid of Octopus, and they lose the only people that weren't in the Illuminati but would have sided with them. And then from that point, it was just a massacre.
right, because keep in mind,
Like,
season 4 merge is essentially the coming of the alliance war. You have the Whooper, you have Octopus and Peppers trying to get in with Akio and others, and then you have Puppet's crew, and then you have Spin and Groot playing in the middle. So Blaze goes at merge, then Puppet. I'm not going to give Akio too much credit on the Groot move, and
Groot
Spin.
just went insane on
Groot
ground for no reason.
Groot just went insane, and then Akio did lose an ally in Spin. That's one of the things keeping him from S plus for me is that he loses Spin, which is a very
And to be fair,
paramount
he,
ally.
and to be fair, he also lost to Groot. Groot was his ally as well.
But
Groot was with him through Sheep way more than Spin.
but with that also comes Akio's like improv on that is that even when
Yeah, like
losing those two, he still
he
manages to have enough game read on him to idle out Angie. And when he does that, he empowers what I think is a very
well,
great alliance move. Is that, and it's very simple when you think about it. It's like back in like Survivor David versus Goliath and Nick Wilson's
yeah.
strategy where I know how I'm going to connect to people, and it's that forming alliance names and to make people feel connected to that alliance. That's the same thing Akio did, but instead of like alliance names, it's
Cause
the
like,
fucking PFP cult. It's
cause
just,
like, till till this day, there will never be. Cause like, even though like we kind of say as like the official story is, Peppers just didn't have the heart to get rid of. We don't know what the fuck happened in that final
it
fight.
was a
We were
very
baffled
it was a
watching
mix
the
of a
fight.
ton of stuff going on.
It was, but Akio took advantage of that, and like this should not be stressed. Akio was even like good fucking friends with the other side, even if they were going after him, to the point that Quinn wouldn't vote Akio.
That too. Quinn didn't vote Akio at 5, and that's a huge testament to his social game. Is that
Although, although that is kind of also a testament to the fact that Peppers and Silver really did not do a good job in explaining what was supposed to be happening
That too, but
because they literally approached Quinn and they're like, "We're gonna get rid of Accio," and they did it in such a way where Quinn didn't.
so but then
I
Akio, and then another thing Akio has going for him that is that he's kind of an MOR in terms of like physical aspect. He won like what 3 immunities in Survivor season
he
4.
won 3. He won 3. Although, as we will fully state, the third one was not because Accio was good. It was because Silver kept messing up.
Silver Silver kept failing, and then Akio
Silver,
does Akio goes if Silver wins immunity, right?
and then Peppers wins the season.
Let's go. So also,
Although,
I
honestly,
do wanna mention
one or two.
something that Puppet did tell me about Akio and Peppers is that so like Puppet told me this in a DM about Akio and Peppers, but Puppet told me that like Akio and Peppers told him he was being voted out, and then he felt bad about getting voted out. Like they told him he'd be voted out, and they made him feel bad about it.
How the fuck? He's fucking JT. No, I take it back. He's JT. He's fucking JT. You can't. He's evil. He's evil. I tell you. He's secretly the villain.
Akio, it's
No,
just Akio has such a great social game in terms of just he's kind of an open book in every sense of the word, except for the fact that he plays
he's the
everything else. He plays the one thing that means everything in this game to his chest, and that's his
he is
idol.
he's the one person that is so honest. He was like super honest to people at the start, and he's honest, and he's honest, and he's honest, and he's front for. And once he does that, it's kind of like Adam from Survivor who had that strategy, where once people tell you the truth for such a long time, when they tell you a lie, you sit there and go, "No, they wouldn't do that.
Right.
That's Akio.
Akio's
He would never lie to me."
Yeah, Akio's the person that kind of slow burns trust. Unlike people like, say, Quinn or even Ghost, for example, who, build their
Or
allies
Siren.
who build their allies in such a short time. Akio's the type of person who slow burns their allies into believing everything he says and keeps saying the truth until he's able to lie and get away with anything that's a lie. That's what makes
Although
Akio.
he rarely even lied is the thing.
That's that's what makes his game so good, though, is that he doesn't need to lie. Everything that's happening, he's able to say up front, but it doesn't get him into any trouble. That's the insane part, is that even when Akio's like, yeah, Puppet, you're getting voted off, Puppet feels bad about that, and
Yeah.
Akio just does a great job at socializing and making everyone feel connected with him.
Yeah. And like I want like everyone to like watching this. Like one of the main reasons that like I wanted to be on this video is the like and like I say this to people, is any one of the next Survivor players could easily be the next Peppers or Aki or or Siren. There's so much that you can learn from Era 1 because Era 1 is it's the blueprint.
Yeah,
Especially season 1 through 4 honestly is the blueprint of Survivor. You
yeah,
have Ghost, the king of pagongs. You have L, the king of strategy, and you have Siren, the king of comps, and villainy, because I'm the first comp beast and the first villain of the season to win, which only 2 have won, surprisingly. And there's only been 1 hero winner.
yeah, one hero winner. Although you could debate that Max is kind of like a hero runner-up in season 7.
He's a runner-up, yeah. And then, and it's also like the one of the main reasons that it's really great to have a video like this is every single player on this list is very distinctively different from each other.
Right, yeah. Like Ikeo and
Because
L are
like
two of the best players in Survivor, but they have very different stories. Because Elle is kind of the person that came back from a rough round one and then took control of everyone, whereas Akio is the person who kind of had control from day one, but just kept. It wasn't like 100% control. He just kept just piling up control until eventually he had control of everyone. And then once he finally won final immunity, that was all it.
Yeah. And also, let me do the math in my head. Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Season 6, I think, and Season 7. And I guess I'll say this fact. Every single best player going into FTC wins the final immunity. So maybe you guys should prep for the final immunity.
That's true.
Because, like, the only one that doesn't win who wins final immunity is me in Season 5, and we all know the opinion on that.
Yeah.
But, this is, me and Civ are hopefully going to be doing not stuff exactly like this, although maybe
We got
we'll
stuff
end up
we got
doing
stuff planned.
we'll end up doing a Season 8 video eventually.
Oh god.
Although not immediately, because we
We need
want
we need time to
people,
stew on what happened.
we need time to think about it. Although, one of the main things that I want to say is just because you're not on this list doesn't mean that you don't have the respect of us, or
Oh
you
yeah.
won't come back again, or you won't be an all-star.
Cuz a lot
Because
of these
some of these people
keep in mind
are, like, probably...
a lot of these players that didn't make it individual game wise they make top 10. Like Angie didn't make it, Luke didn't make it, DB didn't make it. Players like those who, if you go to individual games like Angie season 6 or Luke season 3 or DB season 5, the list would look
To
much
be
different.
to be fair, the top two stay the same, but then it's
The top
I
2.
think it's me as third.
Well,
Is it me
Quinn
as third?
well Quinn gets first because of the whole
Oh no, it's
season.
Quinn is first, then Akio, then L, then me. I think
Then
I'm above Rabbi.
then you, then Luke, then Rabbi.
Yeah. Which is like a testament because, like, maybe one day we'll end up doing an individual list. It's not in the near future. It's not in the near future. The
But
amount the amount of arguing that we would have doing that list would be insane.
but
That list would be a hell to even think about.
but yeah, that is our top 10 as well as my top 77 of the Survivor Era 1 players. Thanks for watching this. Uh, it definitely took some time getting some ranking and some scripting for the tier list going on, but I think it turned out well,
And give
but
one of these days we have to have a blooper reel for
oh god.
the
Yeah.
setting up.
But
And
yeah, if you're thinking of playing Survivor, go ahead and open up that
go
ticket,
ahead.
give it a try. We're not as insane as you think we are. We haven't.
And I guess we're not too insane. And I guess I'll kind of say it here, just if people want to, like, have like a timeline of like what other videos we'll be doing if this is really liked. The next one will probably be Max, followed by Skylar and Hal, although that's questionable. But
Yeah,
we at least want to cover the winner of fans versus favorites.
yeah.
Which that one's gonna be a long video.
Max is definitely
Max
getting
is
a
going to be...
because you have to do all 3 seasons of Max, right?
You have to do all 3 seasons of Max. We would do all 3 seasons of Skylar. When we do Skylar, we would do all 3 seasons. I feel like, because, like, this is the only Era 1 video we'll probably ever have.
Yeah,
Like, we're going into the future. And then Hal would get a video, although it wouldn't be as long as the other two. Mostly because Hal's merge gameplay is the greatest question mark of all time.
yeah. But that is our
Yeah.
video. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye.
Yep.